Welcome back, everyone. Hi. All right, everything looks good. Thank you so much, and I really trust that you all had a great day yesterday. Um, we are now day 4 of PyCon US 2023. Today and tomorrow we have more talks followed by the sprints. So today's keynote is James Powell, who is someone who I really can't wait to introduce to you. But coming up soon, we will have first the special guest steering council is coming up right away after these messages. And followed by the steering council, we have the diversity and inclusion panel today, soon. And okay, thank you for giving the lightning talks today and yesterday. It's really great. I really learned a lot. And you can still sign up for lightning talks, and the sign-ups are at the poster board next to the registration desk. Expo Hall is still there, and this is the final day for all the booths, the sponsors, and the community booth startup rows. Tomorrow, that whole room will look totally different for the job fair and posters, so if you haven't got your swag from sponsors, go there today. And get your t-shirts. If you order t-shirts when you register for PyCon, I saw there are still lots of t-shirts there. If anything that is unclaimed, will be for sale tomorrow at 11, and really I admit that I also missed out on buying t-shirts, so I was bummed. Yes, but tomorrow line up at the swag desk to buy the unclaimed t-shirts. It's really cool. I love the golden color there. PyLadies auction is happening tonight at 6:30, room 151 DEFG. And there is literally a one-of-a-kind item up for auction, a vinyl record with performances by Python community members titled The Zen Side of the Moon, featuring musical talents from Python community members like Lynn Root and Thea Flowers. There is really only one record in existence, and you should go to auction and bid on it. One thing I forgot to mention, and I regret this, there is PyCon Active. It's back in room 250. There is one more session today at 6, and basically we have yoga sessions. The mats will be provided, and there's nothing, all levels are welcome. There are even people, if you notice in the photo, people were doing yoga in jeans. So no preparation needed. If you are interested, just go there. And I want to thank you all for continuing to follow our health and safety guidelines. And during lightning talk this morning, Quang shared a DIY ear saver technology while wearing a mask. I think like it's advanced technology. So if you missed out that lightning talk, go talk to Quang in PyCon APAC booth. And I'm really grateful for you all to continuing to do this. For every person who complained about the policy, we get like 10 others who are so grateful that you are doing this. We may be the one who set up the rules, but it's really you all who are doing this, who are helping us by masking up. So thank you for being considerate for those who are vulnerable and wouldn't come here really otherwise if we had decided to lift the mask policy. So thank you so much. And as a reminder, here's how you report COC incidents. And it's really impossible for us to be everywhere in the venue. It's a large venue. We can't be everywhere all at once. So please do continue to send us reports for mask violations. And thank you for folks who have been volunteering, but we actually still need more. I was at the speaker green room yesterday. We're supposed to have session runners who will take the speakers to their room. We didn't have enough. Like, I had to tell speakers to please go to your room. any of the speakers there had to go alone, I'm really sorry. But you can still sign up to help out, and you just go to the PyCon US dashboard to volunteer. And speaking of volunteering, my challenge for you is still on. And you can report your score to me you can mention me, you can even DM me, which is the scariest thing you can tell people. Tell me about it or use the PyCon US challenge hashtag. And I'm happy to see folks participating in this challenge. I saw people open pull requests. I saw some typo fixes to the PEPs repo. And great job. And I want to give a shout out to Amethyst. She managed to actually propose a new PEP, PEP 713. It's a huge accomplishment, her first ever PEP. And PEP 713 is still, I think, it's still being reviewed by the PEP editors and is being sponsored by core developer Lukas Langa. PEP 73 callable module is awesome. Lots of respect to you, Amethyst, and for the rest of you, be like Amethyst. Take on these challenges. All right. Thank you. Okay, sorry. We actually, before the steering council, we have a brief message from one of our visionary sponsors, Google. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Nina Zakharenko, and it's great to be here at my 11th PyCon. Thanks. If this is your first PyCon, I wanted to extend an extra special welcome. We're glad you're here. I'd like to share a message from Google, one of PyCon 2023's visionary sponsors. You may already be familiar with some of Google's initiatives around Python, our ongoing financial sponsorship of the PSF as a visionary sponsor, donations of Google Cloud infrastructure to the PSF, as well as funding of Python's Developer in Residence program. But something I'm really excited to share a little bit more about is the team that I work on, Google's open source security team. Let's take a quick survey of the room. If this applies to you, please raise your hand. You use open source software, including Python. Okay. You contribute to an open source project. You're all awesome. Lastly, if you're a core maintainer of an open source project. Okay. Given how ubiquitous open source is, there's an imbalance between use of open source and contribution to open source, both time and financial sponsorship. That dynamic has many consequences, one being that it creates a security gap that bad actors can take advantage of. Our team at Google recognizes this, and over the past few years, we've been creating tooling and contributing time, resources as well, to open source communities to enable them to be more secure. Our team has collaborated on the creation of several significant supply chain security projects and their ongoing development, including Salsa, SigStore, Scorecard, along with the Linux Foundation and the OpenSSF and other partners. Our team sponsors an open source fuzzing initiative called OSS Fuzz that enables automated scanning for bugs in software. We run the service for free for critical open source projects. We have a reward program, and at this time, we have almost 30,000 verified bug fixes. We don't just release tools, we also contribute developer time, both to interested projects to help them tackle low-hanging fruit and configure their builds to be more secure, but also to the Linux kernel, improving areas of memory safety to help prevent entire classes of vulnerabilities. On top of developer time, we also contribute funds and sponsorship. We contributed towards the fund that sponsored the PSF's new security developer in residence. We run the SOS.dev rewards program along with the Linux Foundation to fund security improvements in critical open source projects. And in the past, we've also sponsored some larger initiatives, such as vendor work on integrating Rust into the Linux kernel, critical security improvements to PyPI, and contributing to OpenSSF's Alpha Omega Fund. We continue to explore options to give back. While there's still a lot of work to be done, I'd like to say that I'm proud of the work that Google's open source security team has been doing to advance security in open source while being a partner to communities and to maintainers, and of Google's continued support, both of the PSF, of PyCon, and lastly, of the Python community. Thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful PyCon.
All right. Thank you again, Google, for being our visionary sponsor. And right now, we will have the Python Steering Council who will take stage. And the Python Steering Council is 5 people elected by the Python core developers who basically the Steering Council is the governance model that replaces the BDFL model that was held by Guido van Rossum for many, many years. So welcome on stage.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another wonderful day at PyCon. My name is Brett Cannon, and I get to have the honor to represent the 5 of us up here and give you kind of a quick rundown of who we are, what we do, and some highlights of what's coming in 3.12, which means all of you are about to get a point, so congratulations. So, first key question. What is the Steering Council? Hopefully this will answer the question of the person who asked me this the other day on the elevator. If you want technical details, you can go read PEP 13, which defines exactly the role of the Steering Council and how elections work and such. You can also watch the presentation last year where Pablo and Thomas talked all about this, and I think we're able to go into a bit more detail. But basically, the Steering Council is the group on the Python core team that make final decisions when necessary. We try to make decisions based on consensus, but sometimes, obviously, that's not necessarily obvious. And so in those instances, the 5 of us have a deliberation, talk about things over, and just have to make a final call. Typically, this is mostly around PEPs. So emphasis PEP will be one that will come to us eventually, and we'll have a discussion. And then as a group, potentially make a decision. If the core devs themselves don't come forward and say, as more unified body, we want this or we don't. We also have to sometimes help make technical decisions when core devs kind of seem split on one way to go or another. We also sometimes, unfortunately, have to deal with code of conduct issues. But in general, anything involving the core team where some final decision needs to be made, it eventually works its way up to us, and we have to make that call. In terms of who can be on the Steering Council, it's actually open technically to anyone, as long as they are nominated by a core developer. Core developers are allowed to nominate themselves. Voting is done by fellow core developers. If you're at all into voting systems, you can read PEP 13 for details on how all that works. Now, in terms of who we are personally, there are 5 of us. Emily Morehouse of Cuddlesoft. This is our first year on the council. We have Gregory Smith from Google, who's here for his 2nd year. We have Pablo Galindo Salgado from Bloomberg on his 3rd year. We have Thomas Wouters from Google on his 4th year. And my name is Brett Cannon from Microsoft. This is my 5th and final year on the Steering Council. So amazingly enough, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms of seniority. I don't know how that worked out, but it's convenient for at least for this talk. Oh, and by the way, if you really care, PEP 8104 covers the actual election itself, so you can see who else ran, voting count, all that stuff. So this is when all of you get that point. For what's coming up in 3.12, if you want to see what's already landed, technically in the main branch, you can go to the What's New page for the 3.12 docs. Now, to be very clear, when you go to docs.python.org, it's going to be defaulted to 3.11. So if you want the 3.12 docs, make sure to hit that toggle in the upper left, and then select 3.12, and then you'll be able to see the What's New. But I will say these are just highlights. It is not exhaustive at all. And some things are not necessarily on here because they haven't landed yet. But to give you that point, here's some highlights. So to start off, we're getting better F strings. So unfortunately, we forgot to capitalize that for that extra point. Basically what this means is actually Pablo and fellow team members put in a lot of work to actually add F strings to the parser. So F strings are going to get faster because the parser will deal with this up front. You can now nest quotation marks. So any of you who've all gone, I got to use single quotes and then double quotes and single quotes and kind of make that all work, that's been taken care of, and all the nesting down below gets taken care of as well. Yeah, it's one of those small little things that just really makes things a lot nicer. So, obviously awesome. If you attended Eric Snow's talk yesterday, you already know about the optional per sub-interpreter GIL work. That is not landed yet. Eric is now under pressure to get that done. But basically what this does is we have a feature called sub-interpreters, currently only available via the C API. But what Eric's work does is it makes each individual interpreter in that process have its own GIL. So watch Eric's talk if you want to get some juicy numbers of how that could potentially actually get you some performance boost. We are actually, as a steering council though, looking for the community to try this out, try out APIs, kind of design stuff, and kind of get feedback within the community of how this should maybe get exposed to Python at the Python level. So please give it a try. We have improved syntax for specifying type parameters, i.e. if you are all into generics when you're doing your typing, you're going to be very happy. This is another feature that hasn't quite landed yet, but we accepted the PEP. And it'll make defining generic code using typing way, way easier. So all of you tired of writing out type alias, you're going to like this. All right, so the next round of applause will be for Pablo, because we're getting even more improved error messages. Yeah, go ahead, go. We know you'll love it. There's multiple. I'm not even going to try to go through them all, but you're getting more of those. We are removing distutils, just to give everyone a heads up. It's been all right, yeah. Makes my life easy. There's less code now. Yeah, we've been playing this for a while. We're just kind of moving all the packaging stuff out into the packaging community to let them handle it, because let's be honest, it's kind of just been sitting there because we've been too scared to change it to break people. So that's moving out. A bunch of old unit test methods are finally going away. Hopefully you've all been paying attention to the deprecation warnings. If not, you're in for a surprise. And another thing is invalid escape sequences are now a syntax warning. So if you've accidentally done slash, I don't know, S, is S not valid? You'll get a warning about that actually at the syntactic level, just to let you know, like, you probably meant to add an extra slash to escape that thing, or you typed the wrong letter. As I said, there's some other things coming. We've actually preliminarily approved PEP 649, which is all about type hints and making those lazy. There was a last-minute update. We haven't officially accepted the new update, so we hope that's coming, but there's still some things in the pipeline. But there's a deadline. So beta 1 is due as of May 8th. Thomas is our release manager, so he gets the unenviable job of cutting everyone off. And also thank you to Pablo for being our release manager for the previous 2 releases of 3.10 and 3.11. And Wukash is here, and he just retired thanks to 3.9 being done. Anyway, the key thing is all features have to get in for beta 1, which is going to be May 8th, so 2.5 weeks, roughly? Yeah, whatever Thomas says. And so the deal is all the features have to get in. Once we hit beta, we then ask all of you in the community, and so I'm now personally asking every single one of you who maintain Python code, please, 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 please test the betas. We need this feedback because we need to know if we're breaking people in some horrible way that we weren't expecting, getting feedback on the features, because once we reach that release candidate in end of July, we're feature frozen. So we can't take anything back anymore. So I'm once again going to beg all of you, please test the betas. Please. And especially if you're on PyPI, if you can create beta wheels, really, really, really appreciate it. So please do. And obviously, the final release will hopefully be In October, as is our normal schedule, on the anniversary of Monty Python's Flying Circus. If you have any questions, feel free to walk up to any of us at the conference. You can also email us at steering-cancel@python.org. There's actually also a GitHub repo at github.com/python/steering-cancel, where you can also open an issue if necessary to reach us and ask us a question. Those are all our personal email addresses if you need to reach one of us directly. As I said, though, I will be leaving at the end of this year, so you have a limited amount of time to bug me about this stuff, but the rest of these folk might still be on, so who knows? We will be holding elections in November, historically, so you'll potentially see these same faces again. You'll only see one new face next year, and I believe that's it. So thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the conference.